The fire in the hearth has burned down to embers. What remains is a deep warmth, a soft glow, and the familiar rhythm of work done by hand. Tonight, we linger in the quiet corners of evening at Great Zimbabwe. Let the centuries fall away. Sink gently into your pillow. The day is done, and you are safe to rest. Let your eyelids grow pleasantly heavy. This is quiet history. Now, let us begin. The sun, a heavy orb of cooling amber, begins its slow descent behind the jagged granite ridges of the south. Here, in the heart of the kingdom, the air carries the scent of dry grass and the faint sweet musk of the cattle pens. It is a time of transition, where the vibrant energy of the marketplace yields to the long, rhythmic shadows of the coming night. The great walls, built of millions of hand-cut granite blocks, glow with a soft, residual warmth. No mortar holds these stones together, only the weight of history and the precision of the masons who laid them, row upon row, in the centuries past. You stand upon the high terraces of the hill complex, looking down upon the valley floor. The great enclosure sits below, a massive curving monument of stone that seems to pulse with the fading light. From this height the sounds of the city are softened, reduced to a gentle hum of voices and the distant rhythmic thud of a wooden pestle. The air is cooling now, a welcome relief from the baking heat of the afternoon sun, which had turned the granite into a shimmering mirror. You breathe in deeply, tasting the wood smoke from 100 small cooking fires, rising in thin blue ribbons toward the darkening sky. Beside you, the stone walls are cool to the touch, their surfaces smoothed by the passage of countless hands over the decades. Each brick is a testament to a lineage of craft, a dedication to a city that stands as the center of the world. The architecture here does not fight the landscape, but flows with it, curving around the natural boulders and rising from the earth as if it were a living thing. You follow the path downward, your sandals crunching softly on the weathered stone and packed earth. The descent is slow, a deliberate movement through the layers of the city's history, passing the smaller dwellings where families are beginning to gather for their evening meal. Inside a nearby roundhouse, the walls of thick red earth are polished to a dull sheen. The floor is hard and cool, made of crushed granite and clay that has been beaten until it is as smooth as glass. A small fire flickers in the central hearth, casting dancing shadows against the low thatched roof. Here the tools of daily life are laid out with care. A collection of iron hoes, a stack of woven baskets, and a row of clay pots decorated with delicate geometric patterns. There is a sense of profound order in this space, a quiet dignity in the arrangement of the domestic world. A woman sits near the hearth, her movements slow and practiced as she grinds sorghum on a large, flat stone. The rhythmic scrape of stone against stone is a heartbeat, a sound that has echoed through these valleys for generations. She pauses to brush a stray grain back into the center, her hands weathered but steady. In the corner, a large storage jar holds the harvest of the previous season, a wealth of grain that ensures the survival of the household through the coming months. The firelight glints off a small copper ornament at her neck, a reminder of the trade that flows through these hills. Moving back out into the twilight, you walk toward the valley ruins, where the larger houses of the elite are clustered. The paths here are wider, lined with low stone walls that define the boundaries of each homestead. The cattle, the true measure of wealth in this kingdom, are being driven into their stone-walled enclosures for the night. Their lowing is a deep, resonant sound that vibrates in the chest, a reminder of the lifeblood of the people. The dust kicked up by their hooves catches the last rays of the sun, creating a golden haze that hangs over the valley floor like a veil. In the distance, the great enclosure looms larger, its outer wall rising 30 feet into the air. It is a masterpiece of design, a continuous curve of stone that defies the eye to find a single straight line. As you approach, the scale of the structure becomes overwhelming. The sheer volume of granite required to build such a thing speaking of a power and organization that spans the entire region. The entrance is narrow and shadowed, leading into a labyrinth of passageways that muffle the outside world. Here the silence is profound, broken only by the soft rustle of the wind through the high crevices. You walk along the inner wall where the stones are laid in intricate chevron patterns near the top. These designs are not merely decorative, they are a language of stone, a declaration of the kingdom's strength and the divine favor of the ancestors. The conical tower stands ahead, a solid mass of masonry that tapers toward the sky. It is a symbol of plenty, a representation of a grain bin that never empties, standing as a silent guardian over the city's prosperity. In the deepening blue of the evening, the tower seems to stretch upward, reaching for the first stars that are beginning to blink into existence. Near the base of the tower, a small group of elders sits in quiet conversation. Their voices are low, a melodic murmur that blends with the rustle of the nearby trees. They speak of the trade caravans that arrived at the start of the week, bringing glass beads from distant lands and fine silks that shimmer like water. They speak of the gold that flows from the mines to the west, the yellow metal that buys the loyalty of kings and the beauty of the court. But mostly they speak of the rains and the health of the herds, for these are the things that truly sustain the heart of Zimbabwe. One of the elders holds a small soapstone bird, its form carved with a fluid grace that captures the spirit of the raptors that circle the hills. It is a sacred object, a bridge between the world of the living and the realm of the spirits. He turns it slowly in his hands, the soft light of a torch catching the fine details of the feathers and the talons. The bird is a protector, a witness to the deeds of the people and the wisdom of the kings. As the elder sets it back upon its stone pedestal, there is a sense of completion, a feeling that the day has been well spent and the night is a time for rest. You find a quiet spot near the edge of the enclosure where a large granite boulder provides a natural seat. From here, you can watch the city settle into its slumber. The fires in the valley are small points of light now, echoing the stars above. The air has grown crisp, carrying the scent of the wild sage that grows on the hillsides. It is a moment of deep peace, a realization of the enduring nature of this place. The stone does not change. It only deepens in character as the centuries pass, holding the stories of all who have walked these paths before you. In the distance, the call of a night bird echoes through the valley, a sharp, clear sound that cuts through the stillness. It is answered by another, further away, a conversation of the wild that continues long after the people have retreated to their homes. You watch as a thin sliver of the moon rises over the eastern horizon, casting a pale, silvery glow over the great enclosure. The shadows shift, revealing new textures in the stone, new depths in the architecture that were hidden by the glare of the day. The city is a different world at night, a place of mystery and quiet contemplation. You think of the goldsmiths who work in the shadows of the hills, their hammers silent now, but their craft evident in the delicate jewelry worn by the nobility. You think of the potters whose hands have shaped the very earth into vessels of beauty and utility. Everyone has a place in this great machine of stone and spirit, a role to play in the continuing story of the kingdom. The rhythm of the work is the rhythm of the seasons, a cycle of planting and harvest, of trade and tribute that has remained unchanged for hundreds of years. A light breeze stirs the grass at your feet, a gentle reminder of the vastness of the plateau that surrounds the city. Beyond these walls lie the forests and the savannas, the rivers that carry the life-giving water, and the distant mountains that mark the edge of the known world. But here, within the circle of the granite walls, there is a sense of safety and permanence. The stone is a shield, a boundary between the chaos of the wild and the order of the civilization. You lean back against the cool granite, letting the stillness of the night seep into your bones. The sounds of the city have almost entirely faded now. The last of the cattle have been secured, and the fires have burned down to glowing embers. In the roundhouses, the families are curled under their blankets, their breathing slow and steady. The elders have departed, leaving the great enclosure to the spirits and the wind. You are alone with the stone and the stars, a witness to the quiet majesty of a kingdom at rest. The weight of the day falls away, replaced by a profound sense of belonging to the earth and the history that is written in every block of granite. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the silence. It is not a void, but a presence. A heavy, textured quiet that speaks of the thousands of lives that have been lived within these walls. You can almost feel the pulse of the city, a slow, deep throb that matches the rhythm of your own heart. When you open your eyes again, the moon is higher, and the world is bathed in a soft, ethereal light that blurs the edges of reality. The Great Zimbabwe is no longer just a city of stone. It is a dream of stone, a vision of enduring strength and quiet beauty. You stand up slowly, your movements careful not to disturb the profound stillness of the hour. It is time to return to your own dwelling, to find your own place of rest within the embrace of the city. As you walk back along the winding paths, the moonlight guides your way, turning the grey granite into silver. The air is cold now, but it is a refreshing cold, a clarity that sharpens the senses and clears the mind. You pass the empty marketplace, where the scent of spices and dried fish still lingers in the air, a ghost of the day's commerce. Your own roundhouse awaits its thatched roof, a dark silhouette against the starry sky. Inside, the last of the fire provides a dim, comforting glow. You move through the familiar space, the smooth floor cool beneath your feet, the scent of the earth and the thatch surrounding you like a familiar cloak. You lay down upon your sleeping mat, the woven fibers firm and supportive. The journey of the day is over, and the journey of the night is just beginning. Outside, the great walls continue their long watch, standing silent and strong under the watchful eyes of the ancestors. The shadows on the wall dance one last time as the final ember pops and fades. The darkness is total now, but it is not a frightening darkness. It is a sanctuary, a space for the mind to wander and the body to heal. You feel the weight of the blankets, the warmth of the enclosure, and the steady, unchanging presence of the stone. The world outside is vast and full of wonder, but here, in the heart of the kingdom, there is only peace. You drift towards sleep. The image of the conical tower imprinted on your mind, a symbol of stability in an ever-changing world. As the first hint of the pre-dawn light begins to touch the highest peaks of the hill complex, the city remains hushed, suspended in the moment between the dream and the waking world. The stones are cold now, waiting for the first touch of the sun to bring them back to life. You stir slightly in your sleep, comforted by the knowledge that when you wake, the rhythm of the city will begin anew, a cycle of life that has no end. The legacy of the masons, the wisdom of the elders, and the strength of the walls will remain, guiding the kingdom through another day of quiet prosperity. The morning air, crisp and thin, settles over the valley like a fine silk shroud. You feel the coolness against your skin, a sharp contrast to the lingering warmth of the Dhaka floor beneath your mat. Outside, the world is a palette of deep blues and charcoal greys, waiting for the sun to spill its gold across the granite. You breathe in deeply, tasting the scent of damp earth and the faint, sweet musk of the savanna grass. From the high vantage of the hill complex, the mist clings to the valley floor, obscuring the foundations of the great enclosure. It is a sea of white vapor, from which the tops of the stone walls emerge like the spines of ancient sleeping creatures. The silence is profound, broken only by the distant, rhythmic call of a nightjar, echoing through the passages. You listen to the stillness, letting it fill the spaces in your mind. A single spark catches in a nearby kitchen, the first fire of the day being coaxed into life. You watch as a thin ribbon of wood smoke rises, pale and ghostly, through the thatched roof of a neighboring roundhouse. It carries the scent of seasoned mopane wood, a sharp, resinous aroma that signals the beginning of the morning's work. The fire crackles softly, a tiny orange heartbeat in the gloom. You move toward the doorway, your feet making no sound on the polished clay floor. The air outside is even cooler, a refreshing touch that wakes the senses without jarring the spirit. In the dim light, the soapstone birds atop their pedestals seem to watch the horizon with quiet expectation. Their carved forms are smooth and cold, weathered by centuries of wind and rain, yet standing firm as guardians of the kingdom. Down in the valley, the cattle begin to stir within their stone kraals. You hear the low, resonant thrum of a bull finding its feet, and the soft clatter of hooves against the earth. The animals are the wealth of the people, their presence a steady, grounding force in the life of the city. Their breath rises in small clouds of steam, vanishing into the morning mist. A potter begins her work in a quiet corner of the courtyard, her hands already grey with the fine silt of the riverbed. She kneads the clay with slow, deliberate motions, a rhythm she has practiced since childhood. The sound is a soft, wet slap against the wooden board, a domestic percussion that anchors the morning. She works in the shadows, her focus absolute as she shapes the vessels that will hold the day's water and grain. The first light of the sun finally touches the highest peaks of the granite hills, turning the grey stone to a warm, glowing amber. It creeps down the walls of the hill complex, illuminating the intricate chevron patterns that decorate the upper reaches. You watch as the light reveals the precision of the masons, each stone fitted to its neighbor without a drop of mortar. It is a testament to a patience that spans generations. You walk along a narrow passage, where the walls rise high on either side, casting long, dramatic shadows. The stone is cool to the touch, its surface roughened by the passage of time and the elements. You feel the immense weight of the walls, a silent strength that has protected this city for hundreds of years. The passage curves gently, leading you deeper into the heart of the architectural marvel. In a small enclosure, a weaver sits before a simple loom, the wooden frame weathered and smooth. He handles the cotton threads with a lightness of touch, his fingers dancing between the warp and the weft. The sound of the shuttle passing back and forth is a gentle woody click, a heartbeat of industry in the quiet morning. He is crafting a cloth that will be traded for gold or glass beads from far across the sea. The smell of morning porridge begins to drift through the air, a nutty, wholesome scent that speaks of comfort and sustenance. It is made from finger millet, slow simmered over a low flame until it is thick and creamy. You imagine the steam rising from the clay pots, the warmth it will bring to those who partake. It is the simple, honest food of the people, a ritual of the hearth, near the iron smelting furnaces. A blacksmith prepares his tools for the day's labor. He moves with a quiet efficiency, laying out his hammers and tongs on a flat stone. The forge is not yet lit, but the scent of charcoal and old iron lingers in the air, a metallic tang that speaks of fire and transformation. He looks toward the rising sun, measuring the time before the heavy work begins. You find yourself standing near a storage area where large ceramic jars are lined up in neat rows. They are filled with grain, honey, and dried meat, the bounty of the land carefully preserved for the seasons ahead. The air here is dry and smells of dust and sweetness, a quiet treasury of the kingdom's survival. You run a hand over the cool, rounded belly of a jar, feeling the texture of the fired earth. A young girl walks toward the stream with a vessel balanced gracefully on her head. Her movements are fluid and steady, a dance of balance and poise learned through daily practice. The sound of the distant water is a soft, continuous murmur, a silver thread that runs through the life of the valley. She disappears into the mist, her presence a brief, quiet moment of grace. The mist begins to lift now, shredded by the increasing warmth of the sun. It reveals the true scale of the city, the hundreds of round houses and the miles of stone walls that weave through the landscape. You see the people emerging from their homes, their voices low and hushed as they greet the day. There is no shouting, no rush, only the steady, measured pace of a community in harmony. You stop to observe a group of men sorting through small quills filled with gold dust. They work with a focused intensity, their eyes keen and their hands steady. The gold glints in the morning light, a brilliant yellow fire that has come from the deep veins of the earth. It is the lifeblood of the city's trade, the currency that connects this inland kingdom to the ports of the coast. The texture of the granite beneath your feet changes as you move from the smooth paths to the more rugged terrain of the outer settlements. You feel the grit of the sand and the firmness of the rock, a tactile connection to the geology of the land. The sun is higher now, and the shadows are shortening, the world becoming more defined and vibrant with every passing minute. You feel a sense of belonging in this landscape of stone and sky. In the distance, the sound of mbira begins to play, its metallic keys plucked with a rhythmic, cascading melody. The music is ethereal and haunting, a song that seems to rise from the very stones themselves. It is a prayer to the ancestors, a call for their continued guidance and protection over the city. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the notes wash over you like a gentle rain. You look out toward the horizon, where the vast savanna stretches away into the distance. The baobab trees stand like ancient sentinels, their thick trunks and gnarled branches silhouetted against the bright sky. The land is wide and full of mystery, a wild expanse that surrounds the ordered beauty of the city. You feel the balance between the human world and the natural world, a delicate, enduring equilibrium. As you turn back toward the great enclosure, you see the conical tower rising above the walls, a symbol of the king's authority and the spiritual center of the realm. It is a solid, unmoving presence, its shadow stretching across the courtyard like a giant sundial. The light catches the top of the tower, making it appear almost luminous against the blue of the sky. It is a focal point for the eye and the spirit. The morning transition is nearly complete, and the city is fully awake, yet the sense of peace remains. The work of the day has begun, but it is a work of rhythm and tradition, not of stress or haste. You find a quiet spot to sit, watching the life of Great Zimbabwe unfold before you. The stones are warm now, and the air is filled with the gentle hum of a kingdom at rest, within its own strength, moving forward into the light of the day. The sun reaches its zenith, a white-hot eye watching over the plateau. The granite walls, so cool in the dawn, now radiate a gentle, stored warmth. You find yourself climbing the winding path toward the hill complex, the ancient heart of this kingdom. Each step is a deliberate movement, a slow ascent through the narrow passages of stone. The walls here are not merely built upon the rock, they seem to grow from it. Massive boulders, smoothed by eons of wind and rain, serve as the foundation for the meticulous masonry of the ancestors. You pause to catch your breath, leaning against a cool, shaded surface. The air is thinner here, and the view begins to open up, revealing the sprawling majesty of the valley. From this height, the great enclosure looks like a coiled serpent of stone, resting amidst the green and gold of the plains. The sound of the city changes as you rise. The sharp clinking of tools and the chatter of the markets soften into a low, rhythmic hum. It is the sound of 1,000 lives intertwined, a soft vibration that feels as steady as the earth itself. In a nearby courtyard, a group of elders sits in the shade of a sprawling fig tree. Their voices are low, a gentle murmur of wisdom and memory. They speak of the reigns to come, and of the kings who ruled before the first stone was ever laid. You watch as a young man carries a bundle of long, supple reeds toward a workshop. He moves with a quiet purpose, his bare feet making no sound on the dusty earth. There is a dignity in his stride, a sense of belonging to this place and its traditions. Further along the path you encounter the scent of wood smoke and roasting meat. A small fire flickers in a sheltered alcove where a pot of thick porridge bubbles slowly. The steam rises in thin silver ribbons, disappearing into the bright, clear air. The cattle in the valley below are beginning to seek the shade of the acacia trees. Their great curved horns glint in the sun, and their slow, heavy movements lend a sense of timelessness to the scene. They are the wealth of the people, the living heartbeat of the economy. You find a narrow staircase carved directly into the living rock. It leads upward to a secluded terrace where the wind whistles softly through the gaps in the stonework. The sound is like a flute, a lonely, beautiful melody played by the atmosphere itself. On this terrace, a craftsman is at work, carving a bird from a block of soft grey soapstone. His chisel moves with practiced precision, shedding tiny flakes of stone that catch the light. The bird, a messenger between worlds, emerges from the silence of the mineral. The soapstone feels cool and slightly oily to the touch. You watch as the features of the bird emerge, the sharp beak, the watchful eyes, the intricate patterns of the feathers. It is an emblem of the spirit, a bridge between the earth and the heavens. As you continue your ascent, the architecture becomes even more intricate. The walls are decorated with chevron patterns, a zigzag dance of shadow and light that breaks the monotony of the grey stone. These patterns are a language of their own, a visual prayer for prosperity and protection. The heat of the afternoon begins to settle, a heavy golden blanket over the world. The vibrant colors of the morning have softened into a palette of ochre, amber, and slate. The landscape seems to shimmer, the horizon blurring into a dreamlike haze. You reach a high vantage point where the entire kingdom is laid out before you. The miles of walls, the hundreds of roundhouses, the bustling pathways, it is a testament to human vision and collective labor. Thousands of people living and working in a city of stone, far from the distant shores of the sea. The breeze brings the scent of wild jasmine from the slopes below. It is a sweet, heady fragrance that cuts through the dry heat of the day. You take a deep breath, letting the scent fill your lungs and calm your spirit. In the distance you can see the smoke from the smelting furnaces on the outskirts of the city. The ironworkers are busy at their craft, transforming the red earth into tools and weapons. Their work is essential, a marriage of fire and earth that sustains the life of the kingdom. The rhythm of the smelting is a steady, percussive beat, the sound of bellows breathing and hammers striking. It is a distant industrial heart, pumping the lifeblood of progress through the veins of the city. You feel the strength of this civilization, its capacity for creation and endurance. Near a small spring that trickles from a cleft in the rock, a woman is washing a piece of bright indigo-dyed cloth. The water sparkles as it splashes over the fabric, and the sound of its movement is a refreshing contrast to the dry heat. She hums a low tune, a song that has been passed down through generations. The indigo is deep and rich, the color of the sky just after the sun has set. It was brought here by traders from across the great water, a luxury that speaks of the city's reach and influence. The world is small, yet vast, connected by the threads of trade and the shared needs of humanity. You sit on a flat stone, watching the play of light and shadow on the walls. The sun is beginning its slow descent, and the shadows are starting to stretch once more. The day is far from over, but the frantic energy of the morning has given way to a more contemplative, steady pace. The stones beneath you are warm, a comforting presence that seems to hold the memory of all the days that have come before. You feel a deep sense of peace, a connection to the cycles of the sun and the enduring strength of the earth. The world is turning, and you are a part of its slow, majestic dance. The light begins to turn a deeper gold, casting long, dramatic shadows across the hill complex. The edges of the boulders are rimmed with fire, and the valley below is bathed in a soft, ethereal glow. The transition toward evening has begun, a quiet shifting of the gears of the world. You look back toward the great enclosure, its massive walls now silhouetted against the brightening horizon. It stands as a silent guardian, a monument to the power and the faith of those who built it. The the stones are silent, yet they speak of a history that is deep and enduring. The air grows slightly cooler as the sun dips lower, a welcome relief from the midday heat. You feel the first hints of the evening breeze, a gentle caress that stirs the leaves of the trees and carries the distant sounds of the city upward. The world is preparing for the coming of the stars. You notice a scribe recording the day's transactions on a piece of smoothed wood. His movements are precise, his mind focused on the numbers and names that represent the wealth of the kingdom. It is a quiet, intellectual labor, a way of anchoring the passing of time. Nearby, a group of children plays a game with small, polished stones. Their laughter is a bright, clear sound that cuts through the stillness of the afternoon. They are the future of this city, the ones who will carry its traditions and its stories into the generations to come. You watch as a potter shapes a new vessel from the rich, red clay of the valley. Her hands are coated in the earth, moving with a fluid, intuitive grace. The pot grows taller and wider with every turn of the wheel, a vessel for water, for grain, or for the sacred beer of the ancestors. The clay is smooth and cool, a tactile connection to the very substance of the land. You feel the creative energy of the city, the way its people transform the raw materials of nature into objects of beauty and utility. It is a process of constant renewal, a cycle of birth and rebirth. The sun is now a glowing orb of orange and red, sinking slowly toward the horizon. The sky is a canvas of brilliant colors, pinks, purples, and golds, that reflect the changing moods of the day. The world is bathed in a soft, magical light that seems to blur the boundaries between the physical and the spiritual. You find a quiet corner of the hill complex, where a small shrine has been built into the rock. There are offerings of grain and flowers, a silent plea for the continued favor of the ancestors. You feel the presence of the past, a sense of being part of something much larger than yourself. The stones of the shrine are worn smooth by the touch of countless hands. They hold the prayers and the hopes of 1,000 years, a repository of the collective soul of the people. You stand in silence for a moment, honoring the memory of those who came before. The first stars begin to appear in the darkening sky, tiny pinpoints of light that pierce the veil of the evening. They are the eyes of the ancestors watching over the city and its people as they prepare for the night. The world is falling silent, a quiet transition into the realm of dreams. You hear the distant sound of a drum, a slow, rhythmic beat that echoes through the valley. It is a call to rest, a signal that the work of the day is done. The city begins to settle, the fires of the hearths flickering in the growing darkness. The scent of the night air is cool and crisp, a mixture of damp earth and the faint aroma of wood smoke. You feel a sense of contentment, a deep-seated peace that comes from being in harmony with the world and its rhythms. The day has been long, but it has been full of purpose and beauty. You begin your descent from the hill complex, the path illuminated by the soft light of the rising moon. The stones are cool now, their stored warmth fading into the night. You move with a slow, measured pace, savoring the quiet beauty of the city in the twilight. The great enclosure looms ahead, a dark, majestic shape against the starry sky. Its walls are a testament to the enduring strength of the kingdom, a monument that will stand for centuries to come. You feel a sense of awe, a profound appreciation for the vision and the labor of those who built it. The path down is easier, the gravity of the hill guiding your steps as the long shadows of the afternoon begin to stretch toward the quiet promise of the coming dusk. The descent from the hill complex is a slow, rhythmic transition as you move from the high, spiritual reaches down toward the living heart of the valley. The stone steps, worn smooth by generations of footsteps, feel cool and solid beneath you, a grounding presence in the gathering dusk. The air begins to change, losing the sharp, thin quality of the heights and taking on the rich, heavy scents of the lowland earth. You can smell the drying grasses, the fragrant wood smoke of evening fires, and the faint, sweet aroma of wild jasmine blooming in the shadows of the rocks. As you reach the base of the hill, the path widens, leading you into the residential clusters where the people of the city make their homes. The circular dhaka dwellings, with their thick walls of polished clay and steep thatched roofs, glow softly in the indigo light of the early evening. Each structure is a testament to the skill of the builders, the surfaces so smooth they almost seem to shimmer like silk under the rising moon. You walk with a slow, measured pace, listening to the quiet sounds of a city settling into its nightly rest. In the small courtyards between the houses, the final chores of the day are being completed with a quiet, unhurried efficiency. A woman kneels by a grinding stone, the rhythmic scrape of granite against granite creating a steady, hypnotic pulse that echoes through the cool air. She is preparing the last of the meal, her movements fluid and practiced, a dance of domesticity that has remained unchanged for centuries. The fine dust of the grain rises in a tiny cloud, catching the last of the ambient light before settling back to the earth. Nearby, a small fire crackles in a shallow pit, its orange flames casting long dancing shadows against the curved walls of the enclosure. A ceramic pot sits nestled in the embers, the steam rising from its brim carrying the savory scent of a slow-cooked stew. The sound of the bubbling liquid is a gentle, comforting murmur, a reminder of the warmth and nourishment that awaits within the home. You feel the heat of the fire as you pass, a brief golden caress against the cooling air of the night. A group of children sits together on a woven reed mat, their voices low and melodic as they share stories in the flickering light. There is no shouting or urgency here, only the soft communal hum of a family at peace. Their laughter is light and fleeting, like the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze, a sound that speaks of security and belonging. You watch as a mother gently places a hand on a child's shoulder, a simple gesture of affection that transcends time and place. The cattle in the nearby kraals are beginning to settle, their deep, resonant lowing vibrating through the ground beneath your feet. These animals are the lifeblood of the kingdom, a symbol of wealth and a connection to the ancestors who first brought them to this fertile plateau. You can hear the rustle of their movement, the heavy thud of a hoof against the earth, and the rhythmic sound of their breathing as they huddle together for warmth. The scent of the kraal is earthy and rich, a reminder of the close bond between the people and their livestock. You continue your journey toward the great enclosure, the massive stone walls rising up like a mountain of silver in the moonlight. The masonry is a marvel of human ingenuity, thousands upon thousands of granite blocks, fitted together with such precision that not a single drop of mortar was required. You reach out to touch the stone, feeling the individual blocks, each one a testament to the labor and the vision of the craftsmen who shaped this city. The granite is cool now, having surrendered the heat of the sun to the darkening sky. High above, near the top of the outer wall, the intricate chevron patterns are visible, a geometric language of power and protection. The shadows emphasize the depth of the carving, creating a play of light and dark that seems to move as you walk. It is a silent sentinel, a decorative flourish that carries the weight of 1,000 years of history and tradition. You pause for a moment to admire the symmetry, the way the lines flow like water across the face of the stone. The passages between the enclosures are narrow and winding, designed to catch the breeze and provide shade during the heat of the day. Now they are corridors of shadow, where the air is still and the only sound is the soft crunch of your footsteps on the gravel path. You feel a sense of profound privacy within these walls, a feeling of being shielded from the vastness of the surrounding wilderness. The city is a sanctuary, a place of order and beauty carved out of the rugged landscape. You pass an open doorway where a craftsman is putting away his tools for the night. The iron hammers and copper chisels are laid out on a wooden bench, their surfaces gleaming dully in the low light. The forge is a heap of dying embers, a soft red glow that pulses like a heartbeat in the corner of the room. The air here smells of charcoal and cold metal, a sharp industrial scent that contrasts with the organic aromas of the valley. It is the smell of progress, of a society that has mastered the elements to build a lasting legacy. In a quiet corner of the lower valley, a small spring bubbles up from the earth, its water clear and cold as it flows into a stone-lined basin. You stop to wash your hands, the water a shocking, refreshing contrast to the lingering warmth of the day. The sound of the trickling water is like a silver bell, a constant soothing melody that never ceases. You see the reflection of the stars in the surface of the pool, tiny points of light that dance and shimmer with every ripple. The night birds are calling to one another now, their voices echoing off the stone walls in a complex polyphonic chorus. You hear the low hooting call of an owl from the heights of the hill complex, answered by the sharp, rhythmic whistle of a nightjar in the valley below. These are the sounds of the African night, a symphony of hidden lives that continues long after the city has gone to sleep. The darkness is not empty, but full of the presence of the natural world. A soft wind begins to blow from the east, carrying the scent of the distant mountains and the cooling moisture of the night air. It rustles through the thatch of the roofs, a sound like falling rain that lulls the senses and invites a deep restorative slumber. You feel the wind against your face, a gentle pressure that seems to brush away the remaining cares of the day. The world is becoming soft and blurred, the sharp edges of the architecture melting into the velvet darkness of the sky. You find yourself standing before the entrance to the great enclosure, the massive lintels of the gateway framing the star-strewn heavens beyond. The scale of the structure is humbling, a reminder of the greatness of the kings who once ruled from this place. Yet, even here, there is a sense of intimacy and quietude. The stones do not shout their power, they whisper it in the language of endurance and time. You step through the threshold, moving into the hallowed interior, where the shadows are deepest and the silence is most profound. Inside, the conical tower rises up toward the stars, a solid, tapering cylinder of stone that defies the gravity of the earth. It is a mystery in stone, a focal point for the spiritual energy of the city. You walk around its base, your hand trailing along the smooth masonry, feeling the immense weight and stability of the structure. It feels like the center of the world, a fixed point around which the heavens and the earth revolve in their eternal dance. The grass within the enclosure is soft and damp with dew, cushioning your footsteps as you move through the inner courts. You find a quiet spot to sit, leaning your back against the cool granite of the inner wall. The stone supports you, a solid and unwavering presence that has stood for hundreds of years. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the heartbeat of the city, the slow, rhythmic pulse of a civilization at rest. In the distance, the faint sound of a drum begins, a slow and steady beat that seems to come from the very earth itself. It is not a call to action, but a signal of safety, a reassurance that all is well within the walls of Great Zimbabwe. The rhythm is hypnotic, a grounding force that anchors you to this moment and this place. You feel your own breathing synchronize with the beat, a slow and steady rise and fall that mirrors the cadence of the night. The stars above are brilliant and cold, a vast canopy of light that stretches from horizon to horizon. You can see the Milky Way, a river of silver mist that flows across the sky, and the familiar constellations that have guided travelers and farmers for millennia. They are the same stars that the ancestors gazed upon, a timeless connection between the past, the present, and the future. The vastness of the universe is a comforting thought, a reminder of the small but significant place that this city holds in the grand design of the world. As the night deepens, the mist begins to rise from the valley floor, a soft white veil that curls around the bases of the stone walls. It softens the outlines of the buildings, turning the city into a dreamlike landscape of silver and grey. The air is cool and damp, a refreshing blanket that signals the final transition into the realm of sleep. You feel a sense of profound contentment, a deep-seated peace that comes from being in harmony with the rhythms of the land and the history of its people. The fires in the dwellings have faded to glowing coals, and the voices of the people have fallen silent. The only sounds remaining are the natural music of the night and the slow, steady pulse of the drum in the distance. You prepare to move further into the heart of the enclosure, where the most sacred spaces await, as the city of stone continues its silent vigil under the watchful eyes of the ancestors. The narrow corridor of the parallel passage beckons you forward, a ribbon of shadow between two towering walls of stone. Here, the air is cooler, held in the grip of the massive granite blocks that rise 30 feet toward the stars. Your footsteps are muffled by the earth, a soft, rhythmic padding that echoes faintly against the smooth, mortarless masonry. The walls seem to lean in, not with the intent to crowd, but with the protective embrace of an ancient guardian. You can feel the immense pressure of the stones, held together only by the perfect precision of their placement and the steady pull of gravity. It is a quiet, heavy space, where the noise of the world outside is filtered through 1,000 years of silence. To your right, the great outer wall curves away into the darkness, its surface decorated with the famous chevron pattern. Even in the low light of the moon, you can trace the zigzagging lines of stone with your eyes, a silent language carved into the very skin of the city. These patterns represent the snake of fertility, or perhaps the flowing waters of the valley, a tribute to the life-giving forces that have sustained this kingdom for generations. The texture of the granite is rough beneath your fingertips, weathered by the sun and the rain, yet still sharp and defined in its geometry. You stop for a moment, resting your palm against a cool block, feeling the vibration of the earth deep within the foundation. It is a solid, enduring connection to the hands that shaped this world. As you move deeper into the heart of the enclosure, the passage opens into a series of smaller, private courtyards. In one corner, the remains of a dhaka floor glow softly under the starlight, the polished clay as smooth as glass. This was a place of gathering, a domestic sanctuary where the families of the elite once shared their evening meals. The scent of wood smoke still lingers in the porous stone, a ghostly reminder of the hearth fires that once burned here. You can almost see the flicker of the flames dancing against the walls, casting long, swaying shadows that mimic the movement of the trees beyond the ramparts. The stillness here is profound, a deep well of tranquility that invites you to linger and reflect on the lives lived within these walls. Nearby, a cluster of large ceramic jars stands in the shadow of a low wall, their rounded bellies filled with the remnants of the harvest. You imagine the weight of the grain, the golden wealth of the kingdom stored safely away from the elements. The jars are cool to the touch, their surfaces decorated with simple, elegant incisions that speak of a refined and thoughtful hand. This is the quiet industry of the evening, the careful preservation of resources that ensures the survival of the community. There is a sense of order and security in the way these vessels are arranged, a testament to the organizational strength of the Shona people. You find yourself breathing more slowly, your heart rate settling into the measured pace of the city's nocturnal heartbeat. Further along, you discover a small, sheltered alcove where a weaver's tools have been laid to rest for the night. A collection of soapstone spindle walls sits on a flat stone, their central holes waiting for the wooden shafts that will turn raw cotton into fine thread. The fabric produced here was once traded across the vast interior, reaching the distant coasts and beyond. You can almost feel the softness of the cloth, the rhythmic whir of the spindle, and the steady movement of the loom. In the silence of the night, the memory of this labor feels like a gentle song, a lullaby of craft and creativity. The weaver's space is a sanctuary of focus, a place where the chaotic threads of life are woven into a coherent and beautiful whole. Leaving the great enclosure behind, you begin the slow, winding ascent toward the hill complex. The path is narrow and steep, carved directly into the side of the granite kopje. Huge natural boulders loom over the trail, their surfaces slick with the evening mist. You move with care, placing your feet on the ancient stone steps that have been worn smooth by the passage of countless generations. The air grows thinner and cooler as you climb, and the sounds of the valley below begin to fade into a distant rhythmic hum. You are moving upward, away from the domestic rhythms of the city and toward the spiritual heights, where the kings and the ancestors reside. Each step feels like a transition, a shedding of the mundane world in favor of something more eternal. Halfway up the hill, you reach a wide stone landing that overlooks the entire valley. From here, Great Zimbabwe is revealed in all its majesty, a sea of stone walls and thatched roofs floating in a lake of silver mist. The great enclosure looks like a giant coiled serpent, its dark interior pulsing with the faint light of dying embers. You can see the smaller ruins scattered across the plain, each one a testament to the reach and influence of this great civilization. The scale of the achievement is breathtaking, yet in the quiet of the night it feels intimate and personal. You are a witness to a world at rest, a kingdom that has found its balance between the earth and the sky. Continuing your climb, you pass through a narrow cleft in the rocks, where the walls are so close you can touch both sides at once. This is a natural gateway, a threshold between the lower city and the sacred precincts of the hill. The wind whistles through the gap, a low, haunting note that sounds like a distant flute. It is a sound that has echoed through these rocks for centuries, a constant companion to the people who have lived and worshipped here. You feel a sense of reverence as you pass through, as if you are entering a temple built by the hands of both gods and men. The granite feels alive here, vibrating with the energy of the mountain itself. At the summit, the hill complex opens into a series of interconnected enclosures built directly into the massive rock formations. Here, the architecture is even more organic, the stone walls blending seamlessly with the natural cliffs. You find yourself in the eastern enclosure, the most sacred space in the entire city. This is where the soapstone birds once stood, their silent, watchful eyes guarding the spiritual well-being of the kingdom. Even though the birds are no longer in their original places, their presence is still felt in the heavy, expectant silence of the air. You stand in the center of the court, looking up at the stars, feeling the immense weight of the history that surrounds you. Near the edge of the cliff, a small iron smelting furnace sits cold and silent, its clay walls blackened by the heat of many fires. This was the source of the kingdom's strength, the place where the red earth was transformed into the tools of agriculture and the weapons of defense. The scent of charcoal and burnt ore still clings to the ground, a sharp metallic tang that cuts through the sweetness of the night air. You imagine the bellows pumping, the roar of the flames, and the rhythmic clanging of the hammer on the anvil. Now, however, the furnace is a place of peace, its work done for the day. It is a reminder that even the strongest forces must eventually yield to the quiet of the night. In a nearby chamber, you find a collection of soapstone carvings, small figures of animals and humans that served as votive offerings to the ancestors. Their forms are simple and expressive, captured in the soft grey stone with a deep sense of character and purpose. You pick up a small carving of a seated figure, its surface polished by the touch of many hands. The stone is cool and heavy, a physical anchor for the prayers and hopes of the people. You feel a profound sense of connection to the individuals who created these objects, a shared humanity that transcends the centuries. The ancestors are not gone. They are here, in the stones, the carvings, and the very air you breathe. As you wander through the labyrinthine passages of the hill complex, you come across a small, hidden pool of water trapped in a hollow of the granite. The surface is perfectly still, reflecting the brilliant light of the moon like a silver mirror. You lean over the water, watching your own reflection merge with the stars. The water is cold and pure, a gift from the summer rains that has been preserved in the heart of the mountain. It is a moment of absolute clarity, a point of stillness in the middle of a vast and complex world. You feel the tension leaving your body, replaced by a deep, resonant calm that flows through your veins like the mountain stream. From a high balcony, you look out toward the eastern horizon, where the first faint hints of dawn are still hours away. The world is a tapestry of shadows, from the dark forests that fringe the valley to the distant mountains that mark the edge of the kingdom. The wind carries the scent of wild jasmine and damp earth, a fragrance that is both ancient and ever new. You listen to the sounds of the night, the rustle of a small animal in the dry grass, the distant call of an owl, the steady rhythmic pulse of the drum that still echoes from the valley floor. Everything is in its place, moving according to a grand and timeless design. In the shadow of a great boulder, you find a low stone bench worn smooth by generations of guards and priests who have sat here to watch the night pass. You take a seat, leaning your head back against the cool granite. The stone is a solid, unwavering support, a foundation that has stood the test of time and the elements. You feel the weight of your limbs, the slow rise and fall of your chest, and the steady beat of your heart. The city of Great Zimbabwe is a living entity, a masterpiece of stone and spirit that breathes with the rhythm of the land. You are a part of this rhythm, a small but essential note in the great symphony of history. Below you, the lights of the lower city have all but vanished, replaced by the soft ambient glow of the moon on the thatch and stone. The people are asleep, their dreams weaving together to form the collective soul of the kingdom. You imagine the children tucked into their sleeping mats, the elders resting their tired bones, and the warriors keeping a silent, watchful vigil on the walls. There is a profound sense of safety and belonging in this place, a feeling that you are exactly where you are meant to be. The ancestors are pleased, their presence a warm and comforting blanket that covers the city in its sleep. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the sounds and scents of the hill complex wash over you. The air is still, the silence broken only by the occasional sigh of the wind through the stone passages. You feel a sense of deep gratitude for this moment, for the opportunity to witness the quiet majesty of this ancient world. The stones have many stories to tell, and in the silence of the night you are finally able to hear them. They speak of strength, of beauty, and of the enduring power of the human spirit to create something that lasts far beyond a single lifetime. As the night reaches its deepest point, you prepare to move toward the final sanctuary of the hill, the place where the spirit of the king is said to reside. The path ahead is bathed in the soft, ethereal light of the moon, a silver road that leads into the very heart of the mystery. You rise from your seat, your movements slow and deliberate, as if you are moving through water. The transition from the public spaces of the hill to the private quarters of the ruler is a journey into the soul of Great Zimbabwe, a passage that will lead you to the ultimate source of its power and peace. The drum in the distance has slowed to a single resonant beat, a heartbeat that echoes the pulse of the earth itself. It is a signal that the night is at its most profound, a time of deep reflection and spiritual renewal. You follow the sound your footsteps light on the ancient stone as you prepare to enter the most sacred of all the city's spaces, where the history of the past and the promise of the future meet in the eternal present of the night. The path narrows now, the granite walls rising like silent giants on either side of you. Here in the heart of the hill complex, the air feels heavier, charged with the weight of centuries and the prayers of those who came before. You run your hand along the stone, feeling the cool, smooth surface, polished by the passage of countless hands over the years. The masonry is a marvel of precision, each block fitted to the next without the need for mortar, a testament to the skill of the master builders. You move deeper into the shadows of the royal quarters, where the moonlight only occasionally spills through the narrow gaps above. The silence here is profound, a thick velvet blanket that muffles your footsteps and invites a sense of deep reverence. You can almost hear the echoes of the kings who once walked these same paths, their presence lingering in the very stones of the mountain. The air carries the faint, sweet scent of wild jasmine, blooming somewhere in the hidden courtyards of the palace. To your left, a soapstone bird stands upon a tall pedestal, its form carved with exquisite detail and a sense of quiet majesty. These birds are the messengers of the spirits, the link between the earthly realm and the divine, watching over the city with unblinking eyes. In the silver light of the moon, the bird seems almost alive, its wings folded in a posture of eternal peace. You pause for a moment to admire the craftsmanship, the way the stone has been shaped to capture the essence of the creature. The ground beneath your feet is firm and even, the Dhaka floor polished to a dull sheen that reflects the faint glow of the stars. You pass through a series of interconnected courtiers, each one more private and secluded than the last. The walls are adorned with intricate patterns, chevrons and zigzags that catch the light and create a sense of rhythmic movement. These patterns are more than just decoration. They are symbols of the kingdom's power and its connection to the cycles of nature. In the center of one courtyard, a small fire burns in a stone-lined pit, its flames dancing low and steady in the night air. The warmth of the fire is a welcome contrast to the coolness of the stone, a gentle reminder of the human presence in this grand architectural landscape. You sit for a moment by the hearth, watching the embers glow like fallen stars, and feeling the tension melt away from your shoulders. The world outside the walls of Great Zimbabwe feels very far away, a distant memory in the face of this timeless sanctuary. You notice a collection of clay vessels arranged neatly on a stone shelf, their surfaces decorated with the same geometric motifs that adorn the walls. These vessels hold the grain and water that sustain the royal household, the lifeblood of the kingdom stored in the heart of the hill. The simplicity of these everyday objects is a reminder of the fundamental rhythms of life, the cycles of planting and harvest that govern the world. You feel a sense of deep connection to the earth and the people who have called this place home for generations. As you continue your journey, the path opens up to a wide terrace that overlooks the valley below. From this vantage point, you can see the great enclosure, its massive walls glowing like a silver crown in the moonlight. The valley is a sea of darkness, broken only by the occasional flicker of a distant torch or the glow of a small fire. The city is asleep, its thousands of inhabitants resting in the safety of their homes, while the hills stand guard over their dreams. The wind whispers through the stone passages, a soft, melodic sound that seems to carry the voices of the ancestors on its breath. You close your eyes and listen, letting the music of the night wash over you, a symphony of rustling leaves and distant animal calls. The air is crisp and clean, filled with the scent of the dry grass and the cooling earth. You feel a sense of profound peace, a realization that you are part of something much larger than yourself. You move toward the inner sanctum, the most sacred part of the hill complex, where the spirit of the king resides. The entrance is marked by two massive monoliths, their tops reaching toward the heavens like silent sentinels. You pass between them, feeling a sense of awe and humility as you enter the final sanctuary. This is a place of deep reflection and spiritual renewal, a space where the boundaries between the physical and spiritual worlds are thin. Inside the sanctum, the atmosphere is one of absolute stillness, a silence so deep that you can hear the beating of your own heart. The moonlight filters through a small opening in the roof, illuminating a central altar made of polished granite. On the altar, a single bowl of clear water reflects the stars, a symbol of purity and the life-giving power of the rains. You stand before the altar, your head bowed in respect, and feel the presence of the divine in the quiet of the night. The history of Great Zimbabwe is written in these stones, a story of strength, beauty, and the enduring power of the human spirit. You feel a sense of gratitude for the opportunity to witness this majesty, to walk the paths of the ancestors and breathe the air of this sacred place. The night is reaching its deepest point, and the world is held in a state of perfect balance, a moment of eternal peace before the coming of the dawn. You find a comfortable spot to rest against a smooth stone wall, the granite still holding a hint of the day's warmth. Your eyes grow heavy as you watch the moonlight shift across the courtyard, the shadows lengthening and merging into the darkness. The rhythm of your breath slows, matching the steady pulse of the mountain, as you prepare to surrender to the embrace of sleep. The ancestors are watching over you, their presence a warm and comforting blanket that covers you in the silence of the night. The city below is a quiet tapestry of stone and thatch, a testament to the vision and hard work of those who built it. You imagine the stories that have been told within these walls, the laughter and tears, the triumphs and struggles of a people who created a kingdom in the heart of the wilderness. These stories are a part of you now, woven into the fabric of your own journey through the ancient world. You feel a sense of belonging, a realization that you are exactly where you are meant to be in this moment of time. The stars above are bright and clear, their light a constant reminder of the vastness of the universe and the beauty of the natural world. You look up at the heavens, feeling a sense of wonder and curiosity about the mysteries that lie beyond the horizon. The night is a time of discovery, a chance to explore the hidden depths of the soul and find the peace that resides within. You are a traveler in the realm of dreams, a witness to the quiet majesty of the past and the promise of the future. As the night deepens, the sounds of the city fade into a distant hum, a lullaby that carries you toward the edge of consciousness. You feel the weight of your body, the softness of the air, and the steady beat of your heart. The transition from the physical world to the world of dreams is a gentle one, a passage that leads into the very heart of the mystery. You follow the sound of the distant drum, its rhythm a heartbeat that echoes the pulse of the earth itself. The final sanctuary is a place of ultimate peace, a refuge from the noise and chaos of the world. Here, in the presence of the ancestors, you find the strength and clarity you need to face the challenges of the coming day. The stones have many stories to tell, and in the silence of the night you are finally able to hear them. They speak of love, of loss, and of the enduring power of the human spirit to create something that lasts far beyond a single lifetime. You close your eyes for the final time, letting the sights and sounds of Great Zimbabwe fade into the background. The air is still, the silence broken only by the occasional sigh of the wind through the stone passages. You feel a sense of deep gratitude for this moment, for the opportunity to witness the quiet majesty of this ancient world. The transition is complete. And you are now a part of the eternal present of the night, where the history of the past and the promise of the future meet in the silence of the soul. As you drift into the deepest layers of rest, the mountain seems to cradle you in its ancient arms, ensuring your safety throughout the coming hours. The cool granite remains a silent witness to your presence, as it has for the many souls who rested here long before your arrival. The air grows even more still, the very atmosphere of the hill complex settling into a state of profound, undisturbed equilibrium. In this space, time loses its meaning, and the boundaries of the self begin to soften into the surrounding shadows. The spirit of the kingdom remains a watchful guardian, a quiet energy that permeates every stone and every breath of wind. You are safe, you are held, and you are part of a legacy that spans across the vast reaches of time. The night will eventually give way to the light, but for now there is only the peace of the stone and the silence of the stars. You sink further into the quiet, leaving the waking world behind as you prepare to cross the threshold into the final chapter of this evening's journey. The threshold has been crossed, and you find yourself moving deeper into the heart of the great enclosure, where the air is thick with the scent of cooling stone and the dry, sweet fragrance of the surrounding savanna. The massive walls, built with such precision that no mortar was ever needed, rise up around you like the silent guardians of a long-forgotten secret. Your footsteps are hushed, muffled by the soft earth and the layers of history that lie beneath your feet. The moonlight, silver and thin, casts long dancing shadows across the curved surfaces of the granite, making the very stones seem to breathe in the quiet of the night. As you walk through the narrow, high-walled passages, you feel the immense weight of the masonry, a testament to the hands that shaped this city over 700 years ago. Each stone was carefully split from the granite hills, carried here, and placed with a deliberate purpose that transcends time. The silence here is not an empty one, but rather a space filled with the echoes of ancient conversations, the rhythmic clinking of iron tools, and the steady pulse of a kingdom at its height. You are a guest in this sanctuary of stone, a witness to the enduring legacy of the Shona people who built these magnificent structures. In the center of the enclosure stands the great conical tower, its solid form tapering toward the stars like a silent prayer. It is a symbol of plenty, a representation of the granaries that once held the wealth of the nation, and in the darkness, it possesses a quiet, grounding majesty. You pause beside its base, resting a hand against the cool, textured surface of the granite. The stone is smooth in places, worn by the passage of centuries and the touch of countless hands that came before you. It holds the coolness of the night deep within its core, a sharp contrast to the lingering warmth of the African soil. High above, the chevron patterns carved into the upper reaches of the walls catch the light of the moon, their geometric precision, a silent language of artistry and prestige. These patterns, like the ripples on a pond or the scales of a serpent, speak of a culture that found beauty in the rhythm of the natural world. You follow the line of the wall with your eyes, marveling at how the curves mimic the flow of the landscape, blending the man-made with the earth from which it was born. There is no urgency here, only the slow, measured crawl of the constellations across the velvet sky. Moving away from the great enclosure, you find yourself wandering toward the valley ruins, where the smaller, more intimate dwellings once stood. Here the atmosphere is softer, more domestic, as if the ghosts of family life still linger in the shadows of the low stone walls. You can almost smell the faint, ghostly aroma of wood smoke from long extinguished hearths, and the earthy scent of grain stored in clay vessels. The roundhouses, with their thick walls and thatched roofs, provided a cool refuge from the sun, and now, in the deep of night, they offer a sense of profound enclosure and safety. In one of the smaller courtyards, a single ember glows in a forgotten fire pit, a tiny pulsing eye of orange in the vast darkness. It is a reminder of the human element in this grand architectural landscape, the simple need for warmth and light that unites all people across the ages. You sit for a moment near the cooling ash, watching as the last of the heat radiates into the night air. The sound of a nightjar calls out from the distance, a lonely, repetitive melody that underscores the stillness of the ruins. The world outside the walls feels impossibly far away, as if the stone has created a pocket of time where only the present moment exists. You think of the traders who once walked these paths, bringing glass beads from the shores of India and fine porcelain from the distant kilns of China. In the darkness, you can imagine the glint of gold being weighed and the soft rustle of silk being unfurled in the lamplight. These walls were a crossroads of the world, a place where the riches of the interior met the treasures of the sea, yet for all its wealth and power, the heart of Great Zimbabwe remained rooted in the land, in the cattle that grazed on the hills and the crops that grew in the fertile valleys. The cattle are quiet now, gathered in their enclosures, their slow breathing a rhythmic accompaniment to the wind. You can hear the occasional shuffle of a hoof against the earth and the soft lowing of a calf in its sleep. This is the true wealth of the kingdom, the living pulse of the herd that sustained the people through the seasons. The relationship between the people and their animals was one of deep respect and necessity, a bond that is etched into the very layout of the city. You feel a sense of peace in this connection, a grounding energy that flows from the earth through the animals and into the stones themselves. As you continue your walk, you come across a weaver's station, the wooden loom standing silent in the shadows. The threads of wild cotton, though long gone, seem to haunt the air with the memory of their movement. You can almost hear the rhythmic clack of the shuttle and the soft sigh of the weaver as the fabric took shape under their skilled fingers. The crafts of the city, the weaving, the pottery, the ironworking, were the threads that bound the community together, creating a tapestry of daily life that was as intricate and beautiful as the stone walls themselves. In a nearby storage area, large ceramic jars sit nestled in the shadows, their rounded forms echoing the curves of the architecture. These jars once held water, grain, and beer, the essential elements of hospitality and survival. You imagine the cool, clear water drawn from the nearby springs, tasting of the earth and the minerals of the plateau. The simplicity of these objects is a reminder that even in a city of kings, life was built on the fundamental rhythms of the natural world. You feel a deep appreciation for the utility and grace of these everyday items, which have survived the centuries to tell their quiet story. The wind picks up slightly, whistling through the gaps in the dry stone walls with a sound like a distant flute. It carries with it the scent of the wild grasses and the dampness of the valley floor, a reminder that the wildness of Africa is never far from these walls. The stone does not fight the wind, but rather allows it to pass, a harmonious dialogue between the built environment and the elements. You lean against a wall and close your eyes, letting the sound of the wind wash over you, feeling the vibration of the air against the solid granite. It is a song of endurance, a melody that has been played for 1,000 years. You find a spot where the wall has partially crumbled, revealing the internal structure of the masonry. Even here, in its decay, there is a sense of order and strength. The stones were not just piled up, but carefully wedged and balanced, each one supporting the weight of the others. It is a metaphor for the society itself, a collective effort where every individual had a place and a purpose. You feel a sense of humility in the face of such ancient wisdom, a recognition that the true strength of a people lies in their ability to work together toward a common vision. The stars above seem to burn brighter now, the Milky Way a brilliant river of light that flows across the sky. In the clear air of the plateau, the heavens feel close enough to touch, a sprawling map of the ancestors' journey through time. You look up and find the constellations that guided the people of Great Zimbabwe, the celestial markers that signaled the time for planting, for harvesting, and for ceremony. The sky is a mirror of the city below, a vast, eternal architecture of light that dwarfs even the greatest of human achievements. You move toward a small shrine nestled in the crook of a wall, where a stone bird once stood watch over the city. Although the original carvings may be elsewhere, the spirit of the bird remains, a symbol of the connection between the earthly and the divine. The bird, with its human-like features and steady gaze, was a messenger to the spirits, a bridge between the physical world and the realm of the ancestors. In the silence of the night, you feel the presence of that bridge, a thinning of the veil that allows you to glimpse the sacred heart of the kingdom. The shadows are long now, stretching across the courtyards as the moon begins its slow descent. The light is changing, the silver turning to a deep bruised purple as the night reaches its deepest point. You feel a profound sense of stillness settling over you, a quietude that reaches into the very marrow of your bones. The city is at rest, and you are at rest with it, a part of the long, unbroken chain of existence that has found a home within these walls. Your breath slows to match the rhythm of the wind, and your heart beats in time with the pulse of the stone. As you prepare to move toward the final transition of this journey, you take one last look at the great enclosure, its silhouette a dark crown against the starlit horizon. You carry the memory of its strength, its beauty, and its silence within you, a treasure more valuable than all the gold of the ancient mines. The lessons of the stone, patience, balance, and endurance, are now a part of your own story, a quiet foundation upon which you can build your dreams. The path ahead is soft and clear, leading you toward the gentle light of the approaching dawn and the final sanctuary of the night. The air grows colder, a crispness that signals the turning of the hours, yet you remain warm in the embrace of the history that surrounds you. Every step you take is a quiet conversation with the past, a gesture of respect for the hands that built this place and the spirits that continue to dwell within it. The transition from the physical ruins to the inner landscape of rest is nearly complete, as the boundaries between the two begin to dissolve in the soft pre-dawn light. You are ready to let go of the waking world entirely, to drift into the final chapter where the stories of the stone and the dreams of the soul become one. The journey through the evening at Great Zimbabwe has brought you to this place of ultimate peace, where the echoes of the kingdom are a gentle lullaby for your tired mind. You feel the weight of the day falling away, replaced by the lightness of a spirit that has found its way home. The stones remain silent and steadfast as you prepare to cross the final threshold into the deepest layers of sleep, where the ancestors wait to guide you through the landscapes of the night. The valley floor is a cradle of shadow, where the smaller homesteads rest in the protective embrace of the granite walls. You walk softly, your feet finding the familiar path through the tall, dry grass that whispers against your ankles. The air is thick with the scent of wild sage and the lingering musk of the cattle pens, a scent that speaks of wealth and security. Here, in the quiet spaces between the great stone structures, the pulse of daily life has slowed to a rhythmic hum. The darker floors of the huts have held the heat of the day, and as you pass, you can feel the warmth radiating from the smooth, polished clay. Inside, families are tucked away, their breaths synchronized in the deep, restorative sleep of those who work with the earth. A single ember glows in a hearth, a tiny star fallen to the ground, casting a faint amber light across a discarded grinding stone. The tools of the day, the iron hose, the woven baskets, the ceramic jars are all at rest, their purposes fulfilled for now. You look up, and the sky is a vast tapestry of silver and obsidian, the stars so bright they seem to hum with a light of their own. The great river of stars, the Milky Way, arches across the firmament, a celestial path for the spirits to travel. It is a reminder that the kingdom is not just these stones and hills, but a part of a much larger, infinite design. The Southern Cross hangs low on the horizon, a steady guide for the night travelers and the dreamers alike. The path begins to climb again, leading you back toward the hill complex, the ancient heart of this sacred place. The stone steps are worn smooth by generations of footsteps, each one a silent witness to the passage of time. The walls here are narrow, the granite blocks fitting together with a precision that defies the need for mortar. You feel the coolness of the stone against your palm, a grounding touch that connects you to the very bones of the earth. As you ascend, the sounds of the valley fade, replaced by the high, thin whistle of the wind through the crags. The hill complex stands as a sentinel, its walls merging with the natural granite boulders, as if the earth itself had grown these fortifications. You reach a small plateau, a place of meditation where the kings once looked out over their domain. From here, the great enclosure below looks like a silver ring, dropped onto a velvet cloth of darkness. The silence here is profound, a heavy velvet blanket that muffles the world. You find a seat on a stone bench, the surface weathered and soft, and let your gaze drift across the horizon. The distant hills are mere silhouettes against the starlit sky, their peaks catching the faint pre-dawn glow that is just beginning to stir. It is the hour of the ancestors, the time when the physical and spiritual worlds are most closely intertwined. You think of the gold that has flowed through these gates, the ivory and the glass beads, the riches of a world connected by trade and tradition. Yet in this moment, the greatest wealth is the stillness, the absolute peace of a kingdom at rest. The stones do not speak of gold or power, but of endurance, of a people who built for eternity with the materials of their land. You feel that endurance in your own heart, a steady, quiet strength that needs no words. A nightjar calls from the thicket below, its two-note song a gentle reminder of the life that continues in the shadows. The sound is lonely, yet comforting, a thread of melody in the vast, silent tapestry of the night. You breathe in the cool, crisp air, feeling it fill your lungs and clear your mind of the day's lingering thoughts. Every exhale is a release, a letting go of the weight of the waking world. The shadows in the eastern enclosure are deep and mysterious, hiding the ritual spaces where the sacred fires were once tended. You can almost see the flicker of those ancient flames, the light dancing on the faces of the priests as they offered prayers for rain and prosperity. The spiritual energy of the hill is palpable, a gentle vibration that resonates with the rhythm of your own pulse. You are a guest in this house of history, and you feel the welcome of the stones. The moon has moved further toward the horizon, its light now a soft pearlescent glow that softens the edges of the world. The granite walls seem to glow from within, as if they have absorbed the starlight and are now reflecting it back into the night. You trace the chevron patterns on a nearby wall with your eyes, the geometric precision a testament to the skill and vision of the builders. It is a language of stone, a message of order and beauty sent across the centuries. Your eyes grow heavy, the lids drooping with the weight of 1,000 stories. The journey through the evening has brought you to the very edge of sleep, and you are ready to cross over. The stone beneath you feels supportive and firm, a foundation that will not fail. You lean back slightly, your head resting against the cool granite, and let the vastness of the sky wash over you. In the valley, the first hint of mist is beginning to rise from the stream, a white ribbon of silk winding through the trees. It is a soft, ephemeral thing, a contrast to the solid, unchanging nature of the stone city. You watch it drift and swirl, a slow-motion dance that mirrors the movement of your own dreams. The world is dissolving into a soft, focused landscape of silver and grey, where nothing is sharp and everything is peaceful. The granaries, those tall, silent towers of stone, stand as symbols of the earth's bounty and the kingdom's foresight. They are empty now, yet they feel full of the memory of grain, the scent of the harvest, and the promise of tomorrow. In the same way, your mind is clearing its stores, setting aside the worries of the day to make room for the nourishment of rest. You are prepared, your spirit gathered and calm. The ancestors are present in the whisper of the grass and the sigh of the wind. They do not demand attention, but offer a quiet companionship, a sense that you are never truly alone in the dark. Their presence is a warm hand on your shoulder, a gentle nudge toward the land of dreams. You accept their guidance, letting your thoughts drift away like the smoke from a dying fire. The transition is nearly complete. The boundaries between the self and the stone, the present and the past, all fading into a single unified experience of peace. You are no longer an observer, but a part of the landscape, a quiet element in the grand design of Great Zimbabwe. The night has done its work, peeling away the layers of the day until only the essential remains, and what remains is the silence, the deep restorative silence of the stones. You feel a final soft wave of tiredness wash over you, a gentle tide that pulls you toward the depths of sleep. The stars are dimming now, their light softening as the world prepares for the change of the guard. But for you, the night is still long and full of promise. You close your eyes, the image of the great enclosure burned into your mind as a final beautiful thought. The rhythm of your breathing is slow and steady, a mirror to the ancient pulse of the kingdom. There is no hurry, No urgency, only the slow, deliberate unfolding of the night. You are safe within these walls, protected by the history and the spirits that dwell here. The weight of the stone is a comfort, a reminder that some things are eternal and unchanging. As you drift, the sounds of the night become a distant hum, a lullaby that carries you further and further away. The scent of the earth and the cool air are the last things you feel before the world of dreams takes hold. You are sinking into a deep, dreamless rest, a sleep as profound and enduring as the granite hills themselves. The journey is over, and the rest has begun. The stones of Great Zimbabwe will remain silent and steadfast through the turning of the hours and the coming of the dawn. They are the keepers of the stories, the guardians of the peace you have found. You carry that peace with you now, a treasure that will sustain you through the long, quiet hours of the night. Sleep is here, a soft and welcome presence, and you surrender to it completely. The final light of the moon disappears behind a distant peak, leaving the world in a state of perfect, expectant darkness. It is the moment of ultimate stillness, the point where everything begins and everything ends. In this darkness, you find the final sanctuary, the deepest layer of rest. The kingdom sleeps, the stones sleep, and now you sleep too, drifting into the eternal embrace of the night. The path is silent, the air is still, and the journey is complete. Thank you for walking through history with me tonight. Until next time, on Quiet History, sleep well.